We're going to take a look at two different name brand 22 caliber AR-15s. The first is the Colt tactical rimfire. Next one will be the Smith Wesson M&P 15-22. Both of them in 22 long rifle. Both of them designed to be a training aid or an inexpensive way to shoot a familiar rifle. Both of them come in a fairly simple cardboard box as opposed to a plastic type of carrying case. The Colt is packaged fairly nicely. Some of the earlier ones weren't packaged as well. I guess there were some issues. So it comes out of the box through the various slots in the cardboard. The Colt is made out of an alloy using standard AR-15 parts for the most part. And we'll take a closer look at that one again. It comes with some accessories right away, including a lock, some tools for adjustments and assembly, of course user manuals, some Colt information about how to use this gun lock. It also comes with one magazine. Not very much plastic. In fact, there's no plastic in this packaging. It's just cardboard. It's a nice enough box that if you wanted to store it in it, it's a heavy duty box. It's well made, so it will last a little while. So there's the Colt. The Smith is also in a cardboard box, just a little different style. Again, it comes with its own magazine right away. And a lock, the user manual, product registration, and so forth. The main big difference between the two is that the Smith & Wesson version is almost completely polymer. There's obviously some metal parts, but the receiver and the upper and everything, and even the rails up front, are all made out of a polymer. And we're taking a closer look at those two. This one is the Smith, so it's a Smith & Wesson M&P 15-22. Did a video shooting these earlier, and they're really a lot of fun to shoot. There's very light weight here since so much of it is made out of polymer. Even the rails are polymer, the upper receiver is polymer, of course the lower is polymer. Unlike the Cav Arms lower receiver, which a lot of people are familiar with, real popular polymer lower receiver, this one is more mimics an actual lower receiver, just because it looks a lot like a regular lower receiver. But this receiver extension, the what people call the tube, is actually solid polymer, but it does allow a regular AR-15 style stock to be put on it. It also has the detachable pistol grip. It comes with its own magazine, and again shoots very accurately. And we've got the Colt here to compare it to. This one's, it's not aluminum, it's sort of a cast alloy, but feels a little bit more like a regular AR just because of its heft, because of the weight from the metal. I think we mentioned earlier it's kind of a treat to use these instead of the conversion kits for an AR-15 because the controls are all built around the shorter 22 caliber cartridge, so you can actually use the controls to operate the rifles. I'm going to take another look at these two, the Smith & Wesson and the Colt 22 ARs. First off, we're going to pull the magazines out. They both use the very similar to a regular AR-15 magazine latch on the rifle. Magazines, however, are a little bit different. So we're pulling them out with the release on the other side. I'm not going to flip them over. You'll see in a minute why. But they both release just like a regular AR-15. Here's the two mags side by side. This one is, the top one is the Smith. The lower one is the Colt. Smith is a 25 rounder and the Colt is a 30 rounder. So the Colt is made out of polymer, but it looks a lot like a regular AR-15 magazine as far as the lines and styling, where the Smith It's also made out of polymer, but I guess it looks maybe a little bit more like a Magpul, or it's trying to look like a polymer magazine instead of trying to look like an aluminum magazine. They both have a line going straight through them, so you can see very easily how many rounds are left, and you can do that from both sides since the slot goes straight through. They both have a way to pull the follower down in order to load them very easily. Actually, I'm going to give them both thumbs up on their magazines. Of course, because the 22 caliber round is a bit different, they're going to look a little different than a regular AR-15 magazine, but that's a function of the caliber. But next, we're going to take a look inside of these. If you take a look at our shooting video from the Smith, get a better idea of some of the insides. But you see that it looks actually quite a bit like a real AR-15. Most of the frame and everything is polymer, and of course the receiver extension, what people call the buffer tube, it's really just a piece of solid polymer, but again it's in the shape of the actual AR parts. And then up top the bolt is a little different. It's smaller, shorter, but again meant to work with the smaller 22 caliber cartridge. The bolt, as we mentioned in another video, it looks a lot like the 22 caliber conversion kits, and I guess that's a function of making their 22 caliber AR very much like a regular AR. I guess you'd probably call this mimicking a monolithic upper because the rail continues through. There is a seam though, so it's technically not monolithic, but it looks kind of like one. It's not quite the same as a typical AR, so I don't think the front rails would swap out with the regular AR, but we haven't tested that yet, so that'll be something to still be tested. So taking a look at the Colt, this one is licensed by Colt, manufactured by Walther, and then imported by a third company. I'm not going to try to butcher their name a millionth time here, but you can see it's very different on the inside. First off, the pin comes out, it's not retained, so this is the pin that we're familiar with. It's a metal pin, but it falls right through. The bolt lock catch just kind of comes loose once it's detached, or once the top is opened, and you see that it's completely self-contained. The trigger is like a unit in there. There's really not much similar to that one to a regular AR. The upper, also quite a bit different, not much like a regular AR at all. So it looks like an AR on the outside, but it is not an AR inside. Its tube, its receiver extension is also just solid polymer, and again designed so that you can run typical AR accessories hardware on it, but it's not inside a typical AR. As far as the front rails go, again it's almost a monolithic, but it's not technically monolithic. But there is a rail running continuously all the way out to the front sight post. It's got a regular front sight post where the Smith has a detachable running on the rail. Rear sights are very similar actually on both of them. And one of the things that the Colt wins, in my opinion, is it's got a muzzle device where the Smith, for whatever reason, just has sort of a plain barrel there. It's got the M4 cut on the Colt, so its profile looks a little bit more AR-like, where the Smith looks a little bit more like a varmint rifle or a sporting type of AR. There's probably a lot more I could go into. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but didn't want this video to last forever. Just wanted to take some quick differences, since we had them both to look at, between the Smith Wesson M&P 15-22 and the Colt M4 carbine in 22 caliber.